The wedding hall was glowing. Golden lights hung from the ceiling like falling stars. Soft music played in the background, and guests whispered with excitement as they waited for the ceremony to begin. But none of it felt real to me. I stood near the stage, adjusting my suit, staring at the aisle. Waiting! Not for my bride. For my girlfriend. Aisha. She wasn't the one in the white dress today. She wasn't the one walking down the aisle. But somehow, this entire moment still revolved around her. Because the groom was her first love, and the bride was a girl who was dying. Everyone knew it. No one said it out loud. She only has a few months, someone whispered behind me. Her last wish was to marry him. I clenched my jaw. A final wish. A tragic love story. A noble sacrifice. That's what everyone was calling it. But I knew the truth. The groom didn't love the bride. He loved Aisha. Othra still loved him. I felt it every time she avoided my eyes. Every time she went quiet when his name came up. Every time she said, "It's complicated." Today, there was nothing complicated about it. Today, she was going to choose. The music changed. The ceremony was about to begin. The groom stood at the altar, dressed in white, but his face looked empty, like he was here in body, but not in heart. And they saw her, Aisha, standing near the back, frozen, her eyes locked onto him, not the bride. In that moment, I already knew. Before anything happened. Before anyone moved. Before a single word was spoken. Zayu. She wasn't here to watch. She was here to stop it. My chest tightened. Don't, I whispered under my breath. But she wasn't listening. She never did. The bride began walking down the aisle. Slow. Fragile. Beautiful in a way that hurt to look at. Her smile was soft. Beasifu. Like she already knew how this story would end. And had accepted it. That's what broke me. Not the groom. Not Aisha. Her. Because she deserved this moment. Even if it was built on something fragile. Even if it wouldn't last. She deserved to believe. Even just for today. That she was loved. And it happened. Aya? The voice cut through the entire hall. Everything stopped. Every head turned. And there she was. Aisha. Running down the aisle. Not toward me. Never toward me. Wardim. I can't let you do this. She shouted, tears streaming down her face. You don't love her, you love me. Silence exploded into chaos. Gasps. Whispers. Shock. The bride stopped walking. The groom froze. And me. I just stood there, watching my entire relationship end in front of hundreds of people. Ion looked at her like she was the only thing in the world. And in that moment, I understood everything. I was never her choice. I was just the person she settled for. I'm sorry, she said, not to me. Tem, I should have told you sooner. He stepped down from the altar. Toward her. Not toward his bride. Toward her. And just like that, the wedding was over. Not because of death, but because of love. Twisted. Selfish. Unfinished love. The bride stood there, alone, still in her wedding dress, still holding her bouquet, still smiling, but her hands were shaking. Twen. For the first time, she looked at me, really looked at me, and I looked back. Two strangers, standing in the ruins of someone else's love story. And in that moment, a thought crossed my mind. Cold? Sudden. Unbelievable. If love could destroy everything this easily. Maybe. It was time to make a choice just as bold. I took a step forward. Not toward Aisha. Not toward the past. But toward the girl who had just been left behind. And for the first time, I wasn't following love. I was about to redefine it. Not the peaceful kind. Not the kind that heals. This silence was heavy, crushing. The entire wedding hall stood frozen, as if no one knew what reality they were in anymore. The groom stood inches away from Aisha, his eyes filled with emotions he had been hiding for too long. I thought I lost you. Asbird, you never did, she replied, her voice trembling. And just like that, everything became clear. Not to me. To everyone. Braigi was never part of their story. She was just the ending they were trying to force. A few guests began to murmur. Some looked uncomfortable. Others angry. This is wrong. How could they do this here? But no one stepped forward. Because deep down, everyone was watching love win. Even if it meant someone else had to lose. My hands clenched into fists. For a second, I almost walked away. Because what was the point? She chose him. Again. Just like she always did. But then, I looked at her. The bride, still standing there. Still holding her bouquet. But now, her smile was gone. Her eyes were empty. Not crying. Not screaming. Just quiet. That kind of pain was worse. Because it meant she had already accepted it. I understand, she said softly. Her voice barely reached the front rows. It's okay. Oh, it wasn't. But no one said that. Not her family. Not the guests. Not even the man who was supposed to marry her. He didn't look at her. Once. I'm sorry, he said. But he said it while looking at Aisha. That's when something inside me snapped. Not anger. Jealousy. Something colder. Clarity. I stepped forward. The sound of my shoes echoed in the silent hall. Everyone turned. Even Aisha. Our eyes met. For a brief moment. She looked confused. Like she didn't understand why I was moving. Maybe she thought I was finally going to stop her. Beg her. Fight for her. But I didn't. I walked past her. Past the groom. Past everything that had just broken me. And stopped. In front of the bride. Up close. She looked even more fragile. Also, stronger than anyone else in that room. She lifted her eyes to meet mine. There was no hope in them. No expectation. Just quiet acceptance. And that's exactly why I made my decision. Marry. The words fell into the silence like thunder. For a second, no one reacted. No one even breathed. Then, what? Someone gasped. The bride blinked. Once. Twice. Like she wasn't sure she heard me correctly. I know this wasn't your plan, I continued calmly. And it wasn't mine either. A few people started whispering again. Louder this time. This is insane. Is he serious? But I didn't look at them. I only looked at her. But you deserve a wedding, I said. Not a goodbye disguised as one. Her hands trembled slightly. Why would you do this? She asked quietly. That was the question everyone wanted answered, including Aisha. I could feel her staring at me, burning into my back. I finally answered, because I know what it feels like, I said, to stand here and realize you were never the one they chose. Silence again. This Jimmy. It was different. Heavier. Deeper. The bride's eyes filled slowly. Not with sadness, but something else. Something fragile. Happy. Behind me. I heard Aisha take a step forward. Wait! She sighed. Her voice wasn't strong anymore. It was uncertain, afraid. But I didn't turn around, because for the first time, she wasn't the center of my world anymore. The bride looked at me for a long moment, searching, not for perfection, but for truth. And maybe she found it, because slowly, very slowly, she nodded. I accept. The whole erupted. Gasps. Shouts. Chaos. But none of it mattered. Because in that moment, two broken people made the boldest choice of their lives. Not out of love. Not yet. But out of something far more powerful. Understanding. The wedding still happened. Not the one everyone came for, but something far more unexpected. There was no music this time. Smiles. No celebration. Just whispers. Judgment. Confusion. Sad. I stood at the altar again, facing her, the girl who was supposed to be abandoned. Now, bride. Her hands trembled as she held the bouquet. Not out of fear, but because everything had changed too fast. Are you sure? She asked softly. It was the third time she had asked me that. And Jimmy. My answer didn't change. Yes. Simple. Calm. Finale. But the truth. Even I didn't fully understand why I said it. Was it anger? Was it pride? Was it revenge? Or something deeper? Something I hadn't realized yet. The priest hesitated. This is highly unusual, he said carefully. Life is unusual, I replied. A few people chuckled nervously. Others shook their heads. But no one stopped us, because deep down, they knew this moment wasn't about tradition anymore. It was about choice, and I had already made mine. Whew. The words left my mouth before doubt could catch up. She looked at me, like she was trying to see through me, trying to understand the man she had just agreed to marry. After a long pause, Tao. Her voice was quiet, but steady. And just like that, was done. Nuaz. Nuchan. Silence. A marriage born not from love, but from shared heartbreak. Outside the hall, the sky had turned grey. Guests began to leave, whispering about what they had just witnessed. crazy, impulsive. It won't last. Maybe they were right, but I didn't care. Not anymore. As we stepped outside together, I felt something strange. Not happiness, not regret, just relief. Behind us, I heard footsteps. Fast, uneven. Ion. Wait. I froze. I didn't need to turn around. I already knew. Aisha. She stopped a few steps behind us, breathing heavily. "Don't do this," she said. Her voice was different now. Not confident, not certain, afraid. I slowly turned. For the first time since everything happened, I looked at her properly. Her eyes were red, her makeup ruined, her expression disperaci. "You're making a mistake," she continued. "You don't even love her." I stayed silent because she was right, but she didn't understand something. Love was never the point. "You didn't stop me earlier," I said calmly. She flinched. I thought, she started. "You thought I would stay," I interrupted. Silence. Pain flickered across her face. "I chose you," she said, her voice breaking. "I came back for you." I almost laughed. Not because it was funny, but because it was too late. "You didn't choose me," I said quietly. "You chose him first." Her lips trembled. "And now that you're losing me." I paused. "Now you're confused." Tears rolled down her face. "That's not true." But even she didn't believe her own words. Beside me, my wife stood silently, watching, listening, not interfering, because she understood something Aisha didn't. This moment wasn't about fighting for love. It was about accepting truth. "I'm done being second choice," I said. The words were soft, but they carried everything I had been holding in. For years, Aisha took a step forward. "Please," she whispered. But I stepped back. Not dramatically, not angrily, just enough to draw a line. "Acliar Juan. I hope you find what you're looking for," I said. "On this, Chimi." I meant it. Then I turned away, not alone, but with the woman who had lost everything and still chose to stand. We walked side by side, not close, not distant, just together, for now, and maybe. That was enough. Behind us, Aisha didn't follow, because deep down, she finally understood. So many choices, only come once, and once they're gone, they don't come back. The house was quiet. Quiet. It didn't feel like a newly married couple's home. No laughter, warmth, no awkward smiles. Just two strangers living under the same roof. I placed the keys on the table. "They gave us this place for now," I said. "Temporary?" She nodded, still holding her wedding bouquet. She hadn't let go of it since the ceremony. "Do you want water?" I asked. It sounded stupid the moment I said it, but she shook her head. "I think I just need." She paused. "Jimmy." I understood that. "Take the bedroom," I said. "I'll use the couch." She looked at me. Surprised? You don't have to. I know, I replied calmly. But I want to. Not out of kindness. Not entirely. But because I didn't know how to act like a husband. And maybe she didn't know how to be a wife either. That night, we didn't talk again. Days passed. We moved around each other like shadows. Polite. Distant. Careful. She would wake up early. Make you tea. Leave a cup for me. Without saying a word. I would come home late. Fix things around the house. Make sure everything worked. Without asking anything in return. It wasn't love. But it wasn't nothing either. It was understanding. Silent. Unspoken. Until one night, everything changed. I came home earlier than usual. The lights were off. Only a faint glow came from the bedroom. I heard something. A quiet sound. Crying. I froze. For a moment, I thought about walking away, pretending I didn't hear it. But, other than, I stepped closer. The door was slightly open, and there she was, sitting on the floor, still in her dress from earlier, holding something tightly in her hands. A photograph. Her shoulders trembled as she cried silently, not loudly, not dramatically, but in a way that felt raw. I knocked softly. She quickly wiped her tears. You can come in, she said. Her voice was calm, tone, like she had practiced hiding her pain. I stepped inside. What happened? I asked. She hesitated. Slowly. She held out the photo. I took it. And everything suddenly made sense. It was her. But younger. Standing next to a man. They looked happy. Truly happy. Who is he? I asked quietly. She smiled. But it wasn't a happy smile. He was supposed to be my husband. Something in my chest tightened. What happened? She looked down. Died. Silence. Not heavy. Just deep. He had a weak heart, she continued softly. We knew he didn't have much time. Her fingers tightened slightly. But he still wanted to marry me. I didn't speak. Because now, I understood something. Not just about her, but about everything that happened that day. That wedding, he said slowly. It wasn't about love, was it? She shook her head. It was a promise. Her eyes met mine, and a way for his family to feel at peace. My grip on the photo tightened slightly. So you agreed to marry someone else? Just for that? She nodded. I didn't care what happened to me after. Those words hit harder than anything. Because I knew that feeling. Tao, you were ready to disappear, I said quietly. She didn't deny it. Instead, she asked something unexpected. Why did you marry me? I paused. Because for the first time, I didn't have an easy answer. At first, I admitted. It was impulse. She nodded. I figured. But I wasn't done. But now, I continued. I looked at her. Really looked at her. Not as a stranger. Not as a mistake. But as someone who understood pain, just like me. I think I took a breath. I didn't want you to disappear. Her eyes widened slightly, not because of the words, but because of what they meant. For a long moment, neither of us spoke. And then, for the first time since our marriage, she smiled. A real Juan. Small, fragile, but real. And in that moment, something changed. Not everything. Not yet. But something. Because maybe, just maybe, this wasn't a mistake after all. Morning light filled the room. Soft. Warm. Different. For the first time, the house didn't feel empty. She was already awake, standing in the kitchen, making tea. This Jimmy. She didn't leave it on the table and disappear. She waited. I walked in quietly. You're up early, I said. She nada. I couldn't sleep. A pause. Then, sit, she said softly. Did. She placed the cup in front of me. But instead of walking away, she sat across from me. That alone felt like progress. We didn't speak at first, but the silence wasn't awkward anymore. It was comfortable. I've been thinking, she said finally. I looked up. About what? She took a breath. Bus. That wordji. Felt strange. Because until now, we didn't really exist as one. We rushed into this, she continued, for different reasons. Another that hasn't changed. No, she agreed. But something else has. Her eyes met mine. And this, Jimmy, there was no distance. I don't feel alone anymore. Those words hit deeper than any confession. Because I felt the same. I think, she said slowly, we saved each other. I let out a quiet breath. Maybe we did. A small smile appeared on her lips. And this, Jimmy, it stayed. Days turned into weeks. And something unexpected began to grow. Suddenly. Not dramatically. Slowly. Naturally. We started talking more. Sharing small things. Laughing. Sometimes. Cooking together. Fixing things together. Living. Not as strangers. But not fully as lovers either. Something in between. Something real. Until one evening, everything changed again. We were walking outside. The sky painted in soft orange. Pease fou. For once. And then, we saw her, Aisha, standing across the street. She looked different. Not broken. But quieter. Like life had humbled her. She hesitated before walking toward us. Ichistepi. Carefu. Uncertain. I didn't expect to see you here, she said. Her voice was softer now. Less sharp. Less sure. No one spoke for a moment. Then, she looked at me. I was wrong. Straightforward. No excuses. Right. Just truth. I thought I knew what I wanted, she continued. But I didn't. I stayed calm. Because this time, her words didn't shake me. I hurt you, she said. You did. She nodded. I don't expect forgiveness. A pause. But I needed to say it. Silence again. Then, She looked at her. My wife. I'm sorry, she said. And this, Jimmy. There was no jealousy in her eyes. Only regret. My wife stepped slightly forward. And to my surprise, she smiled. It's okay. Not weak. Not forced. Just peaceful. Because she understood something we both had learned. Tolachi. Love isn't about choosing when it's easy. It's about choosing. Unstay. Aisha looked at us one last time. Then she turned away. Not running. Not chasing. Just leaving. For real this time. We stood there quietly, watching her disappear into the distance. And strangely, there was no pain, only closure. I looked at her. She was already looking at me. Hesitation. Doubt. Are we still pretending? She asked softly. I smiled. For the first time, without weight. No. I reached for her hand. This Jimmy. Not out of impulse. Not out of pity. But because I wanted to. And she didn't hesitate. She held it. Warm. Steady. How? I think. I sighed. We should start properly. She nodded. Hello, she said gently. I'm your wife. I laughed softly. Hello, I replied. I'm your husband. And this Jimmy. It meant something. Because what started as a mistake became a choice. And that choice, curve.